stay a while and listen.
All right. Welcome to Agony of Positivity for the week that is almost the end of September. Like, we're close. I am Ross. With me,
Sparkling cinnamon.
Sparkling cinnamon bacon sticks. That would be awful. Now, when you say sparkling cinnamon, are you referring to real cinnamon or hot cinnamon that is the devil?
I am looking at a candle from Yankee, and the flavor of it. Well, not flavor, because I suppose you could eat it, but
no. Most people refer to things like that as flavor. It's pretty common now.
The scent of it is called sparkling cinnamon, and it has sticks of cinnamon. So I don't know.
Like dug into the candle?
No, the picture itself is.
I thought it was. Is it a red candle?
Yes.
It's probably hot cinnamon. If you were to eat that wax, you'd be like, "Oh, this isn't like a cinnamon roll at all."
I'm sure. Speaking of stuff that burns you, I have a little complaint here. So last night I was making some cheesesteak cookies.
Yeah. Like, now, is this the kit, like where you can buy the bag that has all the stuff in it, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I think it's JTM.
Yeah.
Here in the Cincinnati area, JTM rules the world.
So I was making some, and we have some jalapeno peppers.
Yeah.
Because we have a farm share that we get every week. We get different vegetables.
Yeah.
And this is kind of pepper season going on right now, so we get a lot of peppers. And I'm like, I want my meat a little hot, so I'm going to cook my meat in these jalapeno peppers. Okay. So I put in the skillet and everything.
Now, sorry, I got to ask questions, so I have a correct visual here. Now,
yes.
Are you chopping up the jalapenos, pulling the seeds out, or just whole pepper?
So I chop it in big halves because I don't want to eat the peppers. I just want the flavor of it.
A little bit of flavor, a little bit of heat.
Yeah. So seeds and everything go into the skillet with me.
Okay.
So I'm cooking, and it was pretty hot afterwards. So I eat and everything. Well, I didn't realize that I had some of the juices on my hands. I didn't think there was a lot, but I started touching body parts on my body, like my hands and stuff like that. And I noticed it's starting to burn, and I was like, "Why are my hands burning here?" Yeah, it's the jalapeno oils.
Yes.
And so I'm rubbing water on it, which is not helping whatsoever.
I know water is very bad.
Yes, and my wife's get some olive oil and put it on your hands. I'm like, olive oil. She's like, yeah. She goes, you got to have an oil to counteract the other oil. Anyway, if you get jalapeno oils on you and you need to get it off quickly, get some olive oil and rub it all over yourself.
And make sure to not touch your eyeball if at all possible.
Or anything else. Don't go to the bathroom. There was a little incident there. So I was like this. I was like that one guy in Nakazawa. I was just smearing olive oil all over my body.
But no, I saw this red. We need Turkish oil.
Yes.
Try to think. Well, that's pretty exciting. I've had no. Actually, I had a food mishap in a roundabout way. So,
all right.
I'm going to let everyone know right now. I feel like our intro segment where we talk about random garbage is going to be a little bit longer today. So use your timestamps if you want to skip ahead. So I bought lobster tail. I can't remember if it was over the weekend or on Monday or when it was. But because I've never, I enjoy lobster, but I've never made it myself. So I was like, you know what? These are on sale. I'm going to do that. So I got home, went to the YouTube machine, which apparently now I use YouTube a lot, and that's kind of depressing to me because I used to hate it. I've started reporting all ads as inappropriate when they do not give me the skip option after 5 seconds, because I feel that is inappropriate. 5-second ads, I'm okay. Give me the skip option. That's fine. No skip option. 10-minute. I don't care what party you are. If you're giving me a 10-minute something, you're inappropriate. 100%. That goes for the mattress people, which have finally stopped, but that was a big one. So I put in a search for how to cook lobster tail in the oven is what I was going for.
Okay.
Quick to that, if you've never done it, but you're interested, you thaw it out, and then you gotta like fluff it where the lobster tail meat is on top of the shell. And then you bake it at like a few hundred degrees for like a little while and use your thermometer to make sure it's cooked. Well, now YouTube is under the impression that I cook lobster tail for every meal all the time. And every time I pull up YouTube, I have a billion different lobster tail. So I'm trying to fight through the search algorithm on that.
Yes.
So, and I don't clear anything away. Like I enjoy the process of getting rid of it, but holy moly, I was like, can you stop? It's kind of like when Amazon suggests stuff for you after you buy something. The thing that comes up a lot that people make the joke about is, oh, I bought a toilet seat, and now it suggests different toilet seats every time. Like, I'm not buying more than one of these in a year, hopefully. But yeah. So something else I did. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, what I'm going to is totally irrelevant. So.
Oh, well, no, I was going to say about the search algorithms. I looked up. I was looking up like ghost hunters, and now so I watched one video about something about a ghost or something, and now my search algorithms are all messed up. Now it's all about ghosts, and I was like, I got to put it back on track now.
Yeah, no, it's funny what I've discovered some good stuff as a result of it, and then it's like, okay, well, I've watched enough of these videos, I'm going to remember it. Like, I never hit subscribe. I do the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Yes. So I don't even know what happens when you've subscribed to somebody, how that works. But
nothing like us running a podcast, and we don't really.
Well, 90% of the time we don't ask people to either. So
it's true.
Speaking of YouTube, so we had, I haven't really had time, motivation, whatever you want to call it, to post some of the food stuff I was doing on YouTube for a little bit. But there was one that's like the most viewed video we've ever had, because no one goes to our YouTube because we never talk about it, where I tried the Tijuana Mama. And there was a guy who made a comment on the first one who actually came back like a week ago and commented again. And the comment is, if you decide to try a Tijuana Mama again, try it smashed up. When you smash it up, the Tijuana Mama will soak up the leftover red brine in the package, enhancing the taste even more as opposed to eating it straight from the package. Well, I have multiple things to say to this. One, even though I did keep eating the entirety of the Tijuana Mama, I don't think I actually enjoyed it that much. But
I don't think you enjoyed it either. No.
Now I do consider doing this. This was Daniel Dorsey, was the person who commented, just to get that out there. But I love that he came back all this time later to comment on that. Yeah. So there's a chance I might try that, because the idea of, I assume I buy the Tijuana Mama, I smash it up in the package like it's ramen noodle, because I break up my ramen noodle before I cook it. I don't just leave it as it is. And then I have, I guess, smashed up pulpy Tijuana Mama? That sounds awful, but I'm intrigued. Like, that seems like the worst thing I could possibly eat.
Sure.
So if you want to try that with me, you're more than welcome to.
Sure, I might try it with you.
All right. That way I don't have to eat a whole one. We can just make a paste, and we'll both take I assume you use a spoon at that point. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Speaking of strange things to eat, here, I'm going to send you a link here. Did you hear about the guy who ate too much black licorice?
So he ate like a piece?
No, apparently he ate a bag of black licorice for an entire week.
Wait,
and he died.
Like it took him the whole week to eat the one bag, or he ate one bag a day?
He was eating one bag a day, and unfortunately the guy died, I guess. But I'm just like, my God, how in the world can you eat just one piece of bag? Like you said, black licorice is nasty. I can't imagine eating a bag a day.
I'm looking through. So he was a construction worker. He lost consciousness inside a fast food restaurant where he went to a hospital, died the next day. So I'm going to, not to be insensitive, but this is an outlandish thing that I can't comprehend. So I'm assuming I'm laughing as a form of defense mechanism. Not, in no way am I intending to belittle anyone. Doctor wrote that he had a poor diet consisting primarily of several packages of candy daily.
God.
So 3 weeks before, he switched from eating fruit, easy for me to say, fruit-flavored soft candy to licorice candy, which contains glyceric acid. It's a sweetening compound from the licorice. I did not know there was such thing as licorice root. It can cause a drop in potassium levels, which can cause high blood pressure, and then you get all the problems that go with that. So can you eat unlimited licorice if you eat a banana with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of wondering that too.
Wait, here's a great comment. While black licorice is safe in small quantities, just that on its own, but it can be dangerous when consumed in large amounts or even moderate amounts on a regular basis.
Sure.
So I assume it's not specific to black licorice. It's just licorice in general. But I'm not sure. While his diet consisted largely of black licorice, he was active and otherwise healthy. The case has been reported to the FDA for further investigation on the safety of licorice. Huh.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you're eating, I don't know how in the world you can eat a bag full of black licorice, because that is some nasty stuff right there.
The only thing I've ever had worse than black licorice, and it might be derived from black licorice, is horehound candy. That stuff is really, horehound candy is so bad. I've probably talked about it on the show in the past. It's worth buying it to see how bad, it's beyond oh, that's not good, don't try it. It's you will be amazed that this is called candy and people intentionally eat this. Again, going back to the old days of getting together with people and playing the No Mercy wrestling game. There was one where if you lost, you had to eat a piece of horehound candy. They were very highly contested matches because no one wanted to. But everyone, even though nobody wanted to, you still did it. It was one of those, no one really forced you, but it was just that's the way. Because you were hoping to make someone else eat it, so you had to play along or it went away.
Sure.
I would never have thought that licorice would have so much to be aware of.
Yeah,
That is wild.
I'm not the healthiest guy in the world, but I can't see this eating a bag of candy a day. It's just, I don't know.
Let's see. I'm looking for something here that I was going to talk about last week, and we ran out of time. So we're going to get all our craziness out of the way. The other thing I was going to complain about this week is, so I was trimming my beard, and I messed up.
Okay.
So I had to really shorten my beard, and now I'm very unhappy.
Okay.
So have you ever heard that the baseball is part of the occult?
No.
Me either. Recently, I saw something about it, and so I'm not going to get into it a ton because it's linked to Freemasons is part of it. I assume because they have the compass and all that. I'm going to do a little bit of research, so we'll probably talk more in depth on this at some point. But I have never heard this in all my life. So some of what I glanced over was something about like pitting two teams against each other, things like that. So, if anyone else wants to do some research before we talk about it, we'll try to make it a point to do it next week. But I just want to get that general idea out there because I've never heard of such a thing.
No, I've never heard of.
I've never. But that is. So anywhere I look for conspiracy stuff, currently it's all political, and I'm tired of that. I want interdimensional Bigfoot created the occult to trick us into playing baseball because that powers their home world on Venus. Like, that's the conspiracies that I want. I don't want stuff that's probably really going on. I want the out there stuff. So, and I heard...
Well, I mean...
I heard someone... Go ahead.
Since next week is October, maybe we can start doing a little bit this stupid stuff, like monsters and stuff like we've done before. So
yeah, well, that's what we did last year, and that was pretty fun. So well, we can kick it off with the occult being behind baseball. I feel like there's going to be like a time frame issue to piece that all together, but I don't know. Again, like, I'm not saying that I believe this in any way, but
because baseball, I think it was in a Simpsons episode. I think Homer was not drinking beer anymore, and he was watching baseball, and he was in the 8th inning, and he's like, if you really take beer out of this sport, it's really boring.
Was that the one that had Mark McGwire on it?
It might have been,
because there was one where Bart was wearing, like, basically Major League Baseball was using a satellite to read people's minds or something.
Yes.
And towards the end, Mark McGwire's sitting there and, like, something happens that the satellite actually falls out of the sky. And they're like, oh my goodness, it's right. But he was like, all right, well, we could talk about this, or do you guys want to watch me hit a few dingers over the fence? And everybody was like, oh, dingers. So, which also, anytime I played a baseball game, like on PlayStation or whatever, I'd refer to hitting home runs as a dinger. And no one saw that episode of The Simpsons that I hung out with, and they thought I was just and I tried to explain to them that it came from somewhere, but the internet was not quite what it is, so there was not easy access to showing people clips of stuff.
Sure.
But, alright. Let's see. Final thing.
Okay.
People at the grocery store bagging groceries. Okay. I had a person who, due to the conversation I heard her had, was brand new at bagging groceries. Wow. Okay. If you've ever encountered this where they're throwing like 4 soup cans, 2 big boxes that are like poking the edge, and they have no desire to double bag. Where it's like, I don't think even double bagged, I don't think that's how you're supposed to pack the bags. Like, most places have like some guidelines, but I had like
you're supposed to build a wall, and then you, like, in the center you put like the looser stuff. Yeah.
So if I were to buy, like, say, hot food that comes from like the deli section, you wouldn't put that right next to my frozen food?
No.
Like, that's probably not how you do it? Okay. I thought they just wanted me to... She was just making sure I wasn't going to burn myself.
I don't want to make this too hot now.
Right. Well, like, some of the stuff was... it's funny what you can find to complain about when you don't have bigger problems. And I don't know if it's it amused me because I was like, it's really obvious that you haven't done this for a while, because there are old people who are going to chew you out for doing some of this stuff. I had like 2 like square packages, and instead of setting them on top of each other, they were sat side by side, so it's just all crazy in the bag.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is a mess. Be like, I'm awful at bagging. Like, when I go to the self-checkout, I probably use way more bags than necessary, because I'm like, I'll just give that one bag.
But, have you ever had the cashier, as you're checking out, comment on the stuff that you're buying?
No.
That is so weird.
No.
What was it? Oh, I bought some, so I went Friday night, and I got some cheese, I got some tuna, and I don't know. I would say barbecue sauce. and she just she
Was she
in her
trying to
mind,
piece
she's
it
trying to figure
together?
out- She's trying to piece it together, and I'm just like, she goes, what are you cooking? I don't know what this would make. I was like, these are just random things that I need in my house. I don't need. I'm not cooking one meal with this, all these.
Just because this is what I bought doesn't mean.
Yeah. So you never had that happen before?
No, I'm looking for. I have a picture that I actually took because I was so entertained by what I bought at the grocery store. I might actually post this on our Twitter, assuming I can find it. Because I had an axe. It was just. Oh, here it is. So this was my shopping cart. I had a container of Kickstart, a sugar-free Red Bull, white vinegar, and an axe. And that's all I bought.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'll send that to you so you can see it. But I'll post this on our Twitter. That's at the AOP podcast. And you'll be able to see that. So I'll actually post it as we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's all I got for random stuff.
Yeah. I think I'm good too.
Okay. So give me 1 second here. Because if I don't do this like right now, I won't do this, as I think we all know. Because I am terrible about any of the social media. What would you like to move on to? Video games or wrestling?
We can do wrestling, I guess. I wasn't too impressed with wrestling this week.
Yeah, there's a few entertaining things, but yeah, let me hit the bumper here, and we're going to use the full one.
Well, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue jeans. This is a revolution.
All right. If you would like, did you watch anything other than Dynamite this week?
I watched Roman Reigns, Superman Punch, one of the Usos. I don't know which one it was. One of them.
I want to say that's Jay Uso.
The funny thing is, that was the whole point of his promo. Is like no one knows which one he is. So I just thought that was funny. That I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Did you see where he was like down, like screaming in his face?
Yes.
I like whatever heel version of Roman Reigns this is.
War Chief.
Ooh,
I think that's what
ow. Yeah, because I think he was calling like Tribal Chief or whatever, but if he called himself the War Chief,
yeah.
War Chief I could get behind. So it's funny, all you got to do is like give someone a little bit of an edge, and it's a different character than he's been portraying. It's kind of cool.
Different take.
Now, so I'm just laughing at WWE a little bit. So like the Roman Reigns stuff, I'm actually interested in. Like, I'll search that out. I'll watch it. I'm curious how it's going to go. Like, I'm kind of thinking he's going to beat. I would assume he's going to beat maybe both Usos in the long run. But then because he shows the dominance or whatever for the family, and that's he's king of the jungle kind of thing, where he's going to be the leader, but they're going to be behind him. Like, they're going to see that it's for the good of the family or something like that.
Like the alpha male type thing.
Yeah, where it's he gave he's given Jey Uso the opportunity. If he falls short, that's fine. There's still a place for him because they're an excellent tag team. So it may I could see something coming out of it like a roundabout way where they're a heel faction. Because there was rumors a long time ago that there was going to be a group with Roman that involved the Usos. Well, maybe they're doing a different way to get to it, and Reigns has been built up as a hard to beat guy, so him as a heel with the belt probably more entertaining, truth be told.
I mean it's got me entertained. So.
Right. We got Alexa Bliss doing something with the Fiend, which is funny because the whole Alexa Bliss thing is like one of the most long-term stories that's been told, it feels like.
Yeah.
I love it every time she does it. Like, people are like, I swear she hits the Sister Abigail better than Bray Wyatt does. I kind of think because she's shorter, it makes it easier for her to get that rotation in.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's why, or it's something that like women are able to sell, that like something about like the inner workings of our brain where it makes more sense for that motion. Like certain motions, like you can tell like men with no coaching do a motion one way and women will do it another. Whether it's like something that's brute force or something that's grace, like a lot of times there's more natural inclination to one or the other. So maybe there's something weird going on with like body physics or that. But she hits it really nice, but I don't know where they're going with it. Like, is she possessed? Is she going to become weirdo? Is she going to have like a fiend mask? It'd be weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would end, to be honest with you.
But now the reverse of that, where we have two, to me at least, the Reigns one is much more compelling, but I am interested with the Alexa Bliss Fiend thing, because it's like, well, this is something real different that they've done in the past. As far as like the female characters, we have Retribution, who now have, so there were people who called, and by people, basically any kind of like wrestling journalist people or anyone on Twitter or Reddit or anywhere, that this was the absolute worst episode of Raw they have ever seen in their whole lives. Now, I've heard that no less than a dozen times in my entire life, at different times. So, was it really the worst one ever? Probably not. Was it not a good Raw? Because I watched at least half of this one. Yeah, it was not good, but the Retribution stuff is such a mess that it almost has me interested.
I don't know, man.
Again, I've enjoyed Roman Reigns being covered in dog food while handcuffed. I thought that was perfect. So my taste is all over the place. But
Sure.
just so WWE gives a contract to a rogue group that is theoretically breaking in, or they've discovered that they are people who are already under contract. But everything, it sounds like they gave the people in Retribution, although they are people who have been active in NXT, they're different people. Those two people don't exist at the same time, I guess. Yeah. So that means you have new people that you've given a contract to. Now, T-Bar, who I guess is going to be one of the more vocal people, his Twitter has been fantastic, talking about, well, we were wrecking stuff anyway. They figure they can at least try to make some money off of people watching us, something to that effect. Which still doesn't make sense, because they call the police to the building every so often to arrest somebody for storyline purposes. Yes. So police exist in the world of wrestling. Yes. I understand usually when a wrestler just grabs a random dude backstage and throws them through the ceiling, you'd probably have the police called there. So I get that there's a disconnect of when police would get involved when it's convenient, but they're blowing your stuff up or breaking into your ring with a chainsaw. That seems like a pretty good case of we need to call the police.
I would think so, yes.
So I don't know. But the whole thing just seems like there's no way this was thought out, right? You would assume. Like, there's no way when they're like, oh, there's a new group called Retribution. They're like, so here's what we're going to have them do. Couple weeks, they're going to break some glass, and they're going to make sim noises and go woohoo about stuff. We're going to have them we're going to have like 40 of them too, but we only really care about 5. And we're going to have them take a chainsaw to the ring, even though it doesn't really prove anything. They're not going to get involved in the pay-per-views. They don't want to mess those up. Yeah. And then, once we're finally ready to reveal their names, even though it's going to be obvious that there are people from NXT involved that are pretty distinguishable by their look, that doesn't exist.
Yes.
And we're going to give them contracts. And their names are going to be, I don't even know what you would call their names. Just like, They're going to be what you would think a Street Tough would have as a name.
Yes.
So I don't understand how we started it and how it got to here. Like, I hope that there is like a WWE documentary one day where they go over Retribution. Like someone is chronicling from week to week, like the internal discussions, to find out how it arrived to where it is. Because I'm pretty sure this group is going to be DOA, as in not disciples of Apocalypse, but dead on arrival.
Yeah, I don't think these guys are going to last very long. I think it's an idea that someone's like, hey, this might be pretty cool. Okay, it's not.
Yeah, be like, oh, this could have worked, but we screwed it up all along.
Yeah.
I saw someone being like, well, maybe that's their answer to the Dark Order. Like, no, I don't think it is. I don't think of the things to be concerned about if you're doing any kind of like countering. I don't think Dark Order would be a group that you would counter.
No, yeah.
Like, it's its own weird thing that you're not going to replicate, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because people didn't really care for Dark Order until they started doing cool stuff on being the Elite.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you catch any NXT or anything?
No.
Me either.
I did not.
I read some results, and I saw Shawn Michaels doing something with a couple of the guys, or moderating something. I assume somebody's going to get super kicked out of that, because that's what I expect when Shawn Michaels does anything.
Sure.
I watched, before we get to like any AEW stuff, I watched some old WCW, and I got to witness a couple Renegade matches.
Stellar, weren't they?
So if there was the WWF wrestler, the Ultimate Warrior. I feel like he's pretty well known even like outside of wrestling. Super intense dude, super jacked, did the face paint, had all the tassels and stuff like that, sprinted to the ring. Renegade, because they couldn't get the Warrior, I guess, was their answer to the Warrior. It always sounds like the thought was, well, anybody can be the Warrior, because he wasn't exactly a great wrestler. You just needed somebody who was intense, and you just book him strong, which really isn't unlike what they did with Goldberg in a way. So it can work. But the guy they had as the Renegade, like, he runs down to the ring, and the couple matches that I saw where he showed up, it's like he's doing a parody of the Ultimate Warrior. Like, it's not an imitation, but like he's like spinning in a circle, flailing his arms, and it's what you would do. Like, if I were to be making fun of the Ultimate Warrior, it's how I would react. Like, it's how I would do it. But he's supposed to be serious, so I don't know if they just didn't understand. Well, either way, the Renegade is awful. That's the end result. I just wanted to really. I could have just said, "Hey, did you know the Renegade was awful?" And then we moved on. I probably could have saved us some time.
Well, I think it's funny if you go to WWE's webpage and you type in WCW in the search bar.
Yeah.
They only show 6 superstars being a part of this federation. Because I understand the other people are, part of the WWE brand, I guess, because they've been on WWE television.
Yeah.
But you got Jimmy Wang Yang, Vampiro, La Parka, Kevin Sullivan, Great Muta, and Disco Inferno. That's all they show. Yeah, I
pulled it up here. So one of the episodes that I saw of Nitro, this was right at the beginning of NWO.
Okay.
Is Dean Malenko is having a match against, I think it was Hardbody Harris, maybe? Okay. But Disco Inferno comes out because his CD just sold 1 million copies. Going to assume that wasn't true, but he had like the platinum or gold or whatever color record goes with that, walking around with it.
I have a problem with that. Disco Inferno's character was not a singer; he was a dancer. So
yeah, but he had an album. Supposedly, I don't look. This is WCW. So anyway, like Malenko and Harris are having their match.
Yeah.
And Disco Inferno gets in the ring with a mic and is up in the corner cutting a promo.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on the guy, but I'm pretty sure it was Harris. He's like distracted by Disco, or he's irritated. Malenko, because he's all business, is still trying to win the match because he's cruiserweight champion at the time, I believe.
Yeah.
And Disco instructs them that to celebrate, they need to play his music. So even though he's coming down in the middle of someone else's match, they play his music. And eventually, like, Malenko wins the match with, like, a Northern Light suplex or whatever. And it sets up him and Disco Inferno for, I don't know if it was the Bash at the Beach or what it was. I think it was Bash at the Beach where Hogan turns. Spoiler.
Okay.
If people didn't know that Hogan was the third man.
Yes.
But I was just like, this is the most ridiculous garbage I've ever seen. And there was a time that I was like, I rooted for Disco Inferno. I wanted him to do good. And now when I watch stuff like that, I wish he would have danced off away.
Sure.
Yeah, that is weird that they only have like the six people that come up.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch some more old. I don't like WCW after the NWO anymore. Like when I watch old stuff, largely because I was watching it at that time, so I know everything that happened for the most part. But
Yeah.
it went from like everybody kind of. There was a point where it was Hogan, Hall, and Nash. They had a couple more people. It's still good, and it was like, oh man, this needs to stop.
Well, if you watch, like, I would say probably at the heart of it, there were so many NWO people. I mean, they would fill the entire ring up, and it's just like, okay, this is a little ridiculous.
Well,
There.
when you listen to Bischoff, like where there was actually a legitimate plan that it was going to be NWO Nitro and WCW Thunder, and they would have to take back Nitro at some point. It makes sense why they were doing what they were doing, but that's not how it ended up.
No.
So it's just like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could tell they were definitely gearing towards that, and then they just didn't. So, all right, let's get to Dynamite. I do want to mention from Being the Elite. Did you watch this week's?
Yeah.
When Silver and Reynolds, where Silver was on his shoulders with Brody's coat, pretending to be Brody.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh man, if you're not watching Being the Elite for the Dark Order stuff, you can watch like one or two things and you'll know right away. Either that's your sense of humor is going to be fine with that, or you're going to hate it. But of all the things I expected, for them to do that, it never occurred to me.
My favorite part was Mr. Brody looking at what's his name? It's not Silver, it's the other one.
Reynolds.
And he's like, get him down. I refuse to look up.
I mean, Brody's plays it so straight, but he's basically the straight man of the comedy, because like that had me cracking up. And then he was screaming, he's like, because Sue, of Best Friends, the mom, she joined Dark Order, and they were like trying to be nice around her, and she found out, she's like, he doesn't like your food. So he gave her the papers to throw. He's like, you better sell for Sue. Get on the ground. Like, oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like, it just delights me. And then they come like, they're booked pretty seriously currently, so it just all works. I saw someone comment, because someone was like, well, that doesn't seem like how a cult would act. And someone was like, well, I was actually involved with a cult for a while. And the thing is, like, there's the serious side to it, but you try to make it a fun, inviting thing for people otherwise, because that's why people join the cult and stay. So he was like, so for all these people, all these misfits to kind of work together and get along and have like a good time to some degree actually goes along with it. I was like, oh, I would have never thought of that, but it's an interesting takeaway. So and then let's see. So do we want to talk about the late night Nitro? Did you watch that? Or not Nitro? Goodness gracious, the late night Dynamite.
No, I didn't really watch it, to be honest with you.
Well,
for one thing, I didn't know it came on.
Funny story about this. I fell. It was supposed to come on at like 10. I thought 10 Eastern, but 10 or 11 or something like that. I was like, well, I'm not gonna try to stay up for this, but if I'm awake, I'll check it out. But I guess the NBA game didn't start till 9:25, so I fell asleep. I wasn't too worried one way or the other. I figured I'd catch it somewhere along the way. I happened to wake up about 12:45 for some reason.
Yeah.
And I checked because again, I use like the Fight app to watch it. And I was like, oh, it says Dynamite's going to start here in a little bit. And I was like, okay. So I guess it was like so pushed back that it didn't start till 1 Eastern or 12:30 Eastern. So I ended up just sitting there. I was like, oh, I'm awake for whatever reason. I guess I'll watch this. And
they got really good ratings.
Yeah, for the time slot.
I think it was.
But yeah, you had so if nothing else, the Scorpio Sky Ben Carter match would be worth going to check out. It was an excellent match. Made Ben Carter look pretty good. I mean, Scorpio Sky is Scorpio Sky. He's good. I think he had somewhere along the way. Scorpio Sky was talking about where he still wants the TNT title. So but he feels like he's on the back burner a little bit right now. But that's at least he's talking about the TNT title, and he hasn't just, despite the sad loss that he hasn't just stopped having motivation or whatever. It's just, I guess they have other things to focus on. We'll see how that goes.
Sure.
The other thing we had, they had like a lot of time for that match, but it was good. We got Anna Jay and Brandy, where Anna Jay ends up choking out Brandy.
Okay.
So good for her, good for the Dark Order. Because honestly, Brandy winning doesn't do anything.
No, it does not. Other than people hating her more.
Right, which is kind of unfair, but it gives Anna Jay, although it's not like Brandy's like a top tier wrestler, but that puts her on top for that whole feud thing. So it seems like we went from like, man, what are they going to do with Anna Jay, where they don't even mention her, to where now she's got a little bit of focus. So and this was trying to think, because Brandy's not the greatest wrestler. Like, I'm not going to pretend that she is, but this match wasn't bad overall. And then we get Matt Sydal and Sean Spears. They had their match.
Okay.
There's a spot where Sydal like wipes off the turnbuckle before he goes to the top, just in case because the canon reason for his slip is Michael Nakazawa put Turkish oil all over the turnbuckle.
Yes.
So
yes.
Which is funny, but whatever. Yeah, so Spears wins and all that, but Scorpio Sky ran out, so I don't know what's going to go on with that. But all right, so let's see. We'll get to the normal show. But yeah, so like you said, like that got good ratings for the expected time slot. I guess, I don't know.
For like 1 o'clock in the morning, like you said.
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, it had like a playoff NBA game as a lead on it, so
Sure.
You would hope that it would do okay.
Yeah.
So they did the little tribute for Road Warrior Animal, and we get Miro's debut with Superbad. So I'm guessing Miro's just kind of filling the place that Jimmy Havoc had.
I assume that's what they're doing with it, because I'm just like, you just think get Miro away from these two.
I assume you'll
something.
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, I'm aware that Miro is a big guy, but next to everybody involved in this,
stacked.
I did not realize how thick, like shoulder to shoulder, he was.
Yeah.
Again, like, you got a lot of big guys in WWE still comparatively, so he's not going to look as big. But like, I saw them standing, I was like, oh well, he must just be standing like 3 feet in front of Kip Sabian, and then Kip Sabian was actually standing in front of him, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Sonny Kiss in this match, the dude can't wrestle. I mean, I've been kind of,
holding off,
nice to, but I don't know. I mean, he just wasn't gelling well with Miro. I don't know. It just
Right. Well, and
I don't know.
I've watched Miro, Rusev, whatever, have a lot of matches with a lot of different people. He can have a good match. So
Yeah.
I am convinced that Sonny needs a different move set. Because you'll see stuff where it's like, oh, that looked really good, but then there'll be other moves where you're just like, to me at least, it's like, I just don't get these combinations of moves. And like the back handspring and all that into the slap, that seems like a heel move. Or like, Sonny seems like a nice person, if that makes sense. Like, good guy, nice person, trying to help Joey Janela out. It seems like the slap thing doesn't fit the current version of the character the way it's used.
Yeah, there's something about the character I just don't like.
Something doesn't gel, like moveset and all that kind of stuff. Now, I assume still, relatively speaking, newer, so there's plenty of time to improve. I mean, no denying, super athletic. So it's there. It's just got to get a direction that works.
Yeah, Joey Janela, he's still continuing his bad outfit look. So
if there's an anti-version of things that we like, Joey Janela's gear is it.
Yes.
Like, whatever, yeah. I don't know. I just don't.
I'm glad he went back to pants. I wasn't digging him in his little shorts that he was wearing. Even though they matched Sonny Kiss.
Right.
They just...
There's got to be... I hope that he makes enough with AEW that he could get long tights that match.
Sure.
I don't know. But either way, no surprise that Miro wins in the debut. I guess they're calling the accolade the game over.
Okay.
Camel clutch. So I didn't see any of this. I'm sure there's some people who would be like, oh, that's a dig at Triple H. I would assume it's because he's super into Twitch now and playing video games, that it's more a video game thing than anything like that. So
yeah, not everything has to be a dig towards WWE.
Right. I mean, it's kind of a fair... He still hasn't been on Jericho, so we still haven't gotten the WWE bad interview yet. But we get Eddie Kingston coming out. So this was supposed to have the 6-man match with our boy Will Hobbs. Like, he's not really our boy. We don't know him, but fans of him. So that's how I'm using it. Now, if he wanted to be friends with us, he seems like a very nice young man who could probably throw me 30 feet. So would gladly be
Ross, that's how you know you're old, because you just refer to him as young man.
Yes. Well, I'm 40
like
now,
a nice
so
young man.
I'm going to start using that a lot now that I'm 40. But yeah, so they basically, I guess Archer had a family member or a family friend that tested positive. He tested positive, wasn't feeling good. Something
Cage
was going on with
good
Cage
either,
too. Yeah, because people were wondering, like, well, why didn't they just split it up and have, but so they switched it up where Eddie Kingston is going to get his title shot against Moxley, since the whole the Casino Battle Royale issue. So I didn't really. This was not the greatest promo from Eddie Kingston.
No.
There's other people that if they would have done this promo, it would have been like, oh, that's the best promo they've ever cut. For Eddie Kingston, though, it was just... I think they were just like, get out there and kind of do something. So that there's a little bit more to this match. Obviously, this wasn't planned, but it was like, hey, we got this hanging thread here. Let's go ahead and take care of it. So we get more... This was, 2 weeks in a row with Hangman in singles action? Against Evil Uno. So before this match happened...
That was an alright match.
What were your expectations for this match? Because we haven't seen much of Evil Uno as a singles wrestler.
I mean, I wasn't really expecting like it was going to be the greatest thing ever, but I mean, I thought it was pretty good though.
Did it exceed your expectations?
It entertained me. Yes, I will
Okay.
say that.
So I thought it was I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't have the highest of hopes because I haven't seen Uno do singles matches. So I thought it surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's weird because like Uno doesn't have much of a build, but is very athletic with some of the stuff that he does. So it's always
It looks
weird
like
to
he's
me.
lost. Now, also because he might have changed his outfit, but he looks like he's in better shape than what he was when he first entered.
He has lost weight
Yeah.
for sure. He talks about like because he does the Twitch thing. So depending on what he's playing, I'll check it out every once in a while. And because originally he wasn't wearing the vest, and he was like, well, basically, the short of it is I was told I really need to do something. So that's where the vest came from. But then he started losing some weight, and he was like, and I did get a lot heavier than I intended. He still wants to be like, it seems like the build he has is the build, like, that's a conscious decision. But he was like, yeah, I did get a pretty bad there. But he was like, I still want to have, like, some size, and the overall look is what it sounds like.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he 100% lost some weight because he was getting pretty big there, especially if you compare it back to like Player Uno days. So
Sure.
but yeah, so I mean, end result is Paige wins, and you had a little more Kenny Omega on commentary again, doing the exact same thing.
I liked how Omega said they went so far to actually remove Hangman and Kenny's tag team thing out of the entire thing. So
Yeah, even though they
no longer
were
a tag team.
Yeah, even though they were technically top rated.
Yep. Which I thought was good storytelling.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that for sure. This is another one of those things. Like, I wonder if something changed with what they're going to do. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw Matt, and there's so many Matts. I was confused. And I was thinking of Matt Hardy. Matt Jackson. Again, the Young Bucks are. They just destroyed Tony Schiavone's phone.
Yes.
That's terrible.
They're heel bucks, man. They're heel.
Well, it's a weird heel because they haven't, other than like picking on announcer people, they haven't done anything 100% heel yet. Then just
getting there.
Yeah. I mean, I like that it's like a slow build, so I want to see a match with them as full. I'm assuming that'll be the big thing.
Well, the thing is, though, I don't see them wrestling FTR anytime soon because FTR's heels. So it's just going to be a very heelish. I don't know.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, you could still do it because the Bucks work either way.
Sure.
But yeah, I think you would want to have them different alignments, like clear cut. But that's also probably one of those matches they're trying to hold off till they can get a live crowd for.
Yeah.
So, which is good. Like, they're not running to, like with WWE last night on SmackDown. They have a ladder match for the Intercontinental title with Zayn, Hardy, and Styles. But they had a regular triple threat match last night.
Sure.
Why? Why do that?
Yeah.
So we got Mr. Brody Lee and Orange Cassidy. Mr. Brody Lee was having none of Orange Cassidy's games.
Yeah. I actually like that.
Yeah.
How he was. He was like, okay, I'm not playing your little mind games here.
Right. Well, because I could see it being one of two ways where he's not going to indulge any.
Yeah.
Or he's so not worried about Orange Cassidy that he has some fun with it and then realizes that things are getting away from him, so he has to, like, be serious. But
yeah,
it was a good match, I thought. Like, not the greatest thing in the world, but again, you see Mr. Brody being the Mr. Brody character, and it's one of those, like, yeah, This is a lot better than Luke Harper ever was.
Sure.
And then, so the big thing, though, it was a pretty big match, like as far as what you got, but the lights went out, which can mean only one thing. Somebody's showing up, but it's Cody.
Yes.
Who, a lot of people, he's got like the Death of Cody logo, like the Death of Superman, I guess, is what everyone's comparing it to. With black hair now.
I don't know. I kind of didn't like this. I thought Cody should have stayed gone a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends, because they were talking about him being cleared. Like, they don't, like... I'd like to see if there's going to be a little more explanation where, like, he's back, but maybe he shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Kind of thing where he ends up, like, just one shot. Kind of like when there was the Owen Hart-Shawn Michaels thing, where Owen hits him with, like, the Enziguri kick, and then he just collapses in the middle of the match. Maybe you're going to get something like that with Cody, and then he'll be gone a little bit longer. But he tried to come back too soon. Something like, obvious speculation here, but I liked his suit with, I assume he had a pocket watch. But I liked the look. It's weird that his natural hair color looks strange now.
Yes. Yes.
So, Mr. Brody does the dog collar handle promo thing. That was weird.
I like how Mr. Brody's like, your wife is on Instagram doing thirst pics.
Yes.
That made me laugh for some reason.
I like that she immediately replied to that by posting a bikini shot.
Yes.
Because she does not care. So I'm a little bit confused. I feel like with criticizing things, it's only fair. Because Brody was like, oh, you can run, but I'm going to get you. So they're going to do a dog collar match.
Yeah.
Well, Cody hasn't been running.
Sure.
I mean, I guess I'd have to go back and listen to some of the small part. Maybe Brody was saying, like, this whole time Cody's been hiding, and he finally decided to show up.
I think that's what he's insinuating.
So,
he's just being a heel.
Yeah. Now, I am interested, though, for these two to have a dog collar match, because I have never seen one of these matches
good
that is in current times. Like, when you go back to like NWA stuff, they're pretty good.
Sure.
The way they worked it. So I'm real curious to see these two have it, though, because I actually think it might not be the worst thing I've seen.
I'm also interested because I've not seen my entire wrestling watching. I've not seen a good dog collar match, so it'll be interesting.
Right. It's basically like you have to go back and be familiar with like the storylines going on, because it was back when stipulations were basically the blow off. But usually somebody gets beat pretty bad. Would you like to bet me money on whether or not Cody will bleed in this match?
Ooh. I don't know.
If I'm taking the side of Cody bleeds and you're taking the side of Cody will not bleed, what odds would I have to give you?
Well, the funny thing is, the one time he should have bled is when the beatdown, he didn't bleed. So who knows?
You got to keep him guessing.
Yeah.
But if I were to give you 10-1 odds, would you take that bet that Cody would not bleed?
Maybe 10-1, yes.
Maybe, I like that you actually really thought about that. Like, I don't know. I wonder if there's Vegas betting for that. But either way, so yeah, that should be... I'm curious. I'm assuming next week you'll get like a Cody promo.
Yeah.
Talk about what's been going on. So that should be interesting. This is what I was thinking of earlier. Matt Hardy, Private Party, more Inner Circle stuff.
Yeah.
Sammy's back.
So who is the person that hit Matt Hardy with the ball bat? Because
Jericho said it wasn't him.
Well, yeah, I agree with, because why Jericho would just do it in front of your face.
Right.
So
yeah, like whatever he got hit with.
I'm thinking it's one of the Private Party guys.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who else would make sense. I mean, I suppose it could be Sammy, but I feel like you need to keep these two away from each other before somebody dies.
Yes.
Like they're going to be standing in the ring, and like the ring's just going to fly into the air with both of them, and we'll never see them again. Like you've seen where people have like those tents that aren't anchored on the beach, and they float away. That's going to happen to Matt and Sammy if they're not careful. The ring's just going to, there's going to be like a squall, and all of a sudden they're gone forever. So I'd like to not see that happen.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's one of the private party guys.
So do you think it's that would be them as both of them turning? Because I assume that has to make you bad guy at that point.
You know what? Actually, if you broke these guys up, they might actually be better. I mean, I'm not big about breaking up tag teams, but
just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, I think actually these guys might actually benefit more if you actually broke them up. I don't know. That's just me, though.
What if they decided to focus on singles, but they were each other's like manager?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could.
Or do you think like let them define like themselves as individuals more?
I think that's what you need. I think these guys, to make them bigger stars, I think they need to like break away from each other.
Right. Now, would you actually have them like turn on each other, or would they just kind of go their separate ways for a while with the plan of develop your character a little bit better and get back together?
If you go with the whole thing that one of them is hurting Matt Hardy and the other one's like, well, what are you doing? Yeah, I would do it like that.
So my issue, because I've complained about this recently, is you basically create a Sean Marty situation at that point, where because they're going to have to fight each other. One of them's going to have one of them has to beat the other if you do that, probably.
Yeah.
And then you immediately create that one is greater than the other.
I would say Mark Quinn is probably better wrestler than if I'm being 100%.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I would rather if they split, even if it is that, I'd like to see them not fight each other though.
Okay.
Like even if let's say Mark Quinn goes heel and Cassidy stays face. Again, AEW is a little looser with their definitions, but just for simplicity's sake, it's like, I don't agree with that, but I understand what you're saying kind of thing. And they just kind of go their separate ways. Mark Quinn ends up with a little bit of a feud with Hardy, and Cassidy goes and does his own thing. Where you're not immediately having the split tag team fight each other, where one of them is going to have to win, and then you're basically saying this member of the team was better than the other, which boosts one of them, yes, but it obliterates the other one, it feels like to me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Because like that's what happens. Like every time a tag team splits and somebody beats the other, it's always one of the first matches they have to have. Where if you spread it out for a while and give them some time to establish each other, and then they have like a crazy good match, it doesn't hurt them. But if it's the first thing right after a split, I feel like that's a horrible idea. Again,
I agree with you.
I can only speak to WWE constantly breaking up teams.
Yes.
And Kenny and Hangman's kind of different because they're pretty much put together to eventually break up.
Yes.
The world went to crap, and they happened to be a really good, very good at tag team wrestling, so it probably went longer. But
I think they were put together in order to make Hangman a bigger deal.
Right. Which worked.
Yeah, exactly. So
between that and being the elite.
Somebody is knocking on my door. It's like they know that I'm doing a podcast. So Ross, either pause it or continue to talk and be right back.
I'll just continue to talk. That's easier. So when Saul gets back, we'll ask him about this. My other thought is, what if Matt Hardy was pretending that he was hit and he is actually the bad guy and he's having some kind of weird personality conflict or something, I don't know, or something like that. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, but you never know. People named Matt, Matt Jackson constantly was blading himself to get out of responsibilities of being one of the EVPs and all that stuff on being the elite. So maybe that runs with people named Matt. Let's see. So we'll see what he thinks about that. But yeah, we're gonna get one of Private Party fighting Jericho, which should be interesting. We'll have to see. I didn't realize they were 23. Again, we're looking at the All Elite Wrestling.com page. What do we have coming after this? Oh, I think I hear something returning. Maybe not. I hope he wasn't robbed. That would be terrible. Maybe it's a fake energy company. We'll see. Have you returned?
Yes, I have returned.
Was it fake energy company trying to get you to switch companies?
No, it was meat guy. Meat and a truck guy.
Was it the, oh, dude, I'm selling these steaks, and my truck is acting funny, and the freezer's going out, so I got to sell them real quick?
Was you down there with me?
Is that actually what it was?
Yeah, he said that he has to be back today at a certain time, and he has a certain amount of storage space he has to get rid of, and he's like, I'll cut you a deal right now. Yeah.
They've been running that one for over 20 years. There is a separate scam, the white van speaker scam.
Okay.
Is a known thing. So it's these guys in a white van, and they're selling speakers for like an entertainment center. So a friend of mine actually ended up buying the speakers off the guy, but they came up to him and he was like, "Hey man, we had a basically they set up an entertainment center for a customer. This is 100% a pitch that apparently you have to do to be part of this group. But the pitch is they're setting up an entertainment center for these people. They ended up with extra, like a set of extra speakers. They're just trying to sell the speakers to get rid of them because they're going to use the money to go to the strip club and buy beer." Now, this was at like 9 a.m. when they approached my buddy. So he ended up buying them because it was like a pretty good deal. And he went on to research it to find out. And it turns out like the speakers he got were decent enough. Like it actually was a bit of a deal. But there's all these reports of these dudes in a white van, which is white van speaker scam, where the story is always that they had the extra speakers and they're just trying to get some money to go to the strip club and get some beer. So,
sure.
So I guess the meat industry has the, oh, dude, my freezer, my inventory, help me out, and I'll help you out. So, so I was theorizing my other theory for this whole Matt Hardy thing is that Matt Hardy is pretending that he was hurt, and Matt Hardy is going to be the bad guy.
Okay. All right. I can maybe go down that route.
Maybe. But yeah, so we're going to get Jericho against Cassidy.
Yep.
I don't know what to expect from that. I'll be honest, my expectations are low. Because we saw it was Quinn fought Cody, correct? Pretty sure?
Yeah, I want to say yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Cassidy can do. I'm just not sure. Like I think I agree with you where I feel like Quinn might be the stronger of the two. But we'll find out. I mean, haven't seen him in singles that I'm aware of, so I'll watch it, that's for sure, just to see what happens.
Sure.
We get some FTR action.
Yes.
Well, they're gonna fight the best friends or something.
Yeah.
I do like that he was like, until then, top guy's out, doing the Seacrest thing.
Yeah.
So that made me laugh. But yeah, we're gonna. I assume a 20-minute challenge is you have to beat the other team in 20 minutes.
It did make sense to me. They're like, you got to beat us or we win. I'm like, okay, well then, yeah.
Right. Like it's basically a normal match with a 20-minute time limit. Maybe that's the beauty of it is it's just FTR just being such asses They're like, yeah, we're challenging you to this special match. And then when you like think about it, you're like, it's just a normal match.
Yeah.
So
Now, I would like to see them during this match, like, know that so they're actually going for the 20 minutes and just stall the entire time, like walk around, like
yeah, like they spend
hang out in
like
the
7
audience.
minutes of the whole match like just completely avoiding anything.
Yeah, see, that would be. I mean, I guess it'd be somewhat bit boring, but it'd be entertaining because that's what you would do. Be like, well,
Well,
beat
what
me
if they
20
do
minutes,
it?
so-
Because I've seen it where they'll do like those beat the clock matches, like you've seen those, where the person tries
Yeah.
to stall out at the beginning of the match. What if it's like 15, 16 minutes into the match, FTR realizes that there's actually a chance that they might get beat, and then they start doing it at the end, and you create that situation where they're chasing them, but it's the last few minutes, so you actually add some uncertainty to it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, either way, yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. I have no doubt that the match will be good.
Besides,
Now watch it be the worst thing ever, but yeah,
Yes.
yes, I know you dislike one of the teams in this match, and I
Yes.
don't understand why you don't like FTR.
I know.
So this match, unfortunately, I half fell asleep during this thing, because again, I woke up at 1 a.m. and it's been going on for a while. Shida and Thunder Rosa against Ivelisse and Diamante. What did you think of this? Because from what I saw, it seemed fine. There's a lot of weird stuff going on after the match last week, but it didn't seem like there were any issues.
I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it wasn't the worst. So it was just me.
Yeah, it was a match.
It was a match. Yeah.
So we get Eddie Kingston and Moxley.
So is he going by the Mad King?
I guess so. I
Yes.
don't know where that comes from. I'm not familiar with Eddie Kingston enough to know. He does come across as a mad person, like
Sure.
unhappy. So
Yeah. I mean, did you think that he was going to beat John Moxley anytime here? I mean,
the only way. So a lot of times with AEW, I try to work through like what they could be going for with something.
yeah.
And the only thing I could come up with for Eddie Kingston to win would be to get the belt onto Archer and save a Moxley Archer match. But that's like the biggest try to figure out something. Like, there's no reason to do that. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because I assume whoever is, but I could see where with Butcher and Blade and Lucha Bros, like you could create a scenario where Moxley gets beat by like getting totally screwed over, but it doesn't seem like, it just doesn't seem like this would be the way to do it. Nothing against Kingston, but I don't think it would be the right timing for it. So again, unless it's like, dude, it's a swerve, bro, they'll never guess it, like Russo, there's no reason to do it.
And also, I mean, I just have to comment. Penta L0M. My God, shorten his name. I mean,
Penta L0?
Penta L0M. What I mean, when Superman goes into battle, they don't go Superman, the last son of Krypton. I mean,
I would be okay with just the Penta L0. The M is
Something.
what I don't understand.
shorten it down. My God, AEW.
Yeah, Pentagon Jr. was a much better name. I hope they come to an agreement and he can use that.
Something. Yes.
But yeah, so pretty much I would assume no one's surprise. Moxley wins. He uses like the Bulldog style choke. But then craziness happens. He gets jumped. Darby Allin comes out with a skateboard. Ricky Starks just obliterates Darby Allin again. Those two, it's funny that one of them haven't been more injured than they have, and Sammy and Hardy have had all the bad luck.
Yes.
So, but yeah, everybody gets just obliterated here. Hobbs was out as well. But I mean, I'm interested in next week. I mean, Darby Allin and Ricky Starks should be a pretty interesting match. Trying to think, because they had like the one thing where Darby got him with a skateboard, but they've pretty much held off that match for the better part of a month.
Yeah, I would say about a month. Yeah. So
it feels like it's an actual meaningful match where they're finally maybe going to resolve something. So
yeah,
as opposed to just like it doesn't feel like a throwaway. Oh, and we got Hobbs doing the spine buster, so maybe that is going to transition into his finisher.
Good.
You know how they could make it even better? Give one promo, not even a promo, a backstage segment or somewhere where you show Hobbs speaking with Arn Anderson.
Yep.
Going over technique.
Yep.
Then you show me fantasy booking here, clearly. I mean, I think that would go a long way if you wanted to make the spine buster the finisher, but then have like maybe him and Moxley like somewhere training, but Hobbs is doing like the spine buster to like a heavy bag, something like that.
Sure.
And then have like Moxley like kind of taunting him or like trying to get him riled up, and then Hobbs gets mad and gimmick the one of the heavy bag, but where he actually just explodes the heavy bag, and then you have like Moxley just being like, oh, like basically just laughing maniacally, like, oh, that is awesome, something like that, just showing that what he can do with the spine. There you go. That's it. No different than like Mark Henry and the side headlock that Paul Heyman talked about, where it's like you show like Mark Henry just destroying things with the side headlock. No one else is using the side headlock. All of a sudden, wow, Mark Henry's side headlock looks awesome. You've shown him training to make it devastating. Yeah. Agreed. So, all right. You want to just jump right into games?
Sure. I don't have a lot to jump into, but we can jump on in there.
Yeah. I only got a little bit, so here we go. Let's see. We will do this.
Get over here! Time's up. Let's do this.
All right. So I have still not played Conan's new island adventure. Just because I
have not either.
So I'm very tempted. I might, because my wife is working late the whole weekend, so it might be something I pick up later today and mess around with. But it's not something I can commit to. But I did play. So I'm going to pretend here for a moment.
Okay.
Can you believe that Blizzard is going to be clearing the MMR rating for Battlegrounds? They're just resetting everybody to 0. That's the most awful thing. I've worked so hard for this. I can't believe that even though it says that it was beta, that they would do such a thing. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, is this a thing where people are getting irate about?
I don't know.
I assume it would be.
Yes.
It's the internet.
That's what it is. Like, that's my assumption, is that there are people who are going to be angry about this. They're supposed to be rolling out a new system, but I haven't seen anything as of yet that tells me anything about what the new system is. Now, I haven't looked because I just found out about it earlier this morning, I think.
Okay.
I was looking, let's see, I'm on Hearthpwn is where I'm checking this out.
Yep.
So this is actually a couple days old, but yeah, so the tweet was prepare for a fresh field. Next week, all Battleground rating will reset to 0 and make way for a new rating system. More details coming soon. So I do not think that there is a new tweet that gives any information.
Sure.
So yeah. Do you care? Does that hurt your feelings at all? That all your hard work just gone?
No. No.
I mean, you still have everything else. It's just the rating. It's almost like a season reset. So it could be something.
I don't like how the heroes are locked out. I don't like that, but I understand why, because you want to make money, but
right. Well, because you could do it for gold or something at one point, right? Or it was tied to like how many packs you opened.
Well, you still can. It's just a lot of gold.
Okay. Yeah, because I bought the thing, I didn't know what it was like now. I'm not used to the normal world. But yeah, so I've been playing that. I'm like 63 or 6400 for my rating.
Okay.
I feel like the games have been much better lately.
Yeah,
I don't know if I finally adapted or if something changed drastically that I'm more naturally inclined to the current method. But it feels better than it did there for a while.
Yeah, I agree. The few games that I played this week, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
So
So
what was then
could be everybody who's serious.
Like Murlocs all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't ran into that hardly at all. So, yeah, nothing like Divine Wind Fury Poison. So
Yes.
the game I was playing early this morning, Spellbreak. I believe currently for PC you have to get it on the Epic Game Store, but it's available on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. Free-to-play game. It's a battle royal, but the difference with this one is you're kind of like a mage kind of deal. You have gauntlets, so you have like fire, ice, poison, earth, wind. You can summon Captain Planet once you find the heart gauntlet. That's not really part of it, but how great would that be?
But it should be eventually.
Right. But yeah, so it's your typical like battle royal. There's no building. It has like it feels like a cell shaded style art to it almost, but personally I like the art style. When you have like
Yeah, it looks.
there's not like a ton of abilities to deal with. You basically have your left and right mouse button end up being kind of like your more spammable abilities, and then you have like Q and E are like your big cooldown abilities, and then you can get like a glyph is what is called I think. Obviously I haven't played a ton to where it's all committed to memory, but you hit the shift button and it can give you either like temporary invisibility, kind of like flight, or teleport. Like there's a few different things. That's the other thing is like when you spacebar jumps, if you hold it, you can actually fly a little bit. So you get some added. Everybody has it. Some added mobility. But yeah, it's pretty cool. If you have like, you can combine elemental attacks. For example, like there's a poison one where you put down like a big cloud. If your other weapon or your gauntlet, whatever, is fire, you can fire a fire blast into that, and it will cause that cloud to explode.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's like combinations where like if you freeze people with ice and hit them with fire, it can do some increased damage and things like that. Again, only played a few games, like played through the tutorial, just messing around. It's, if you're into battle royals, it's worth giving a shot. Free to play it.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything in the shop from a buy it perspective that looked like it was a pay to win thing. It looks like it's all cosmetic. It seems very similar to Fortnite in a sense, where I think every battle royal is probably going to use like their overall setup, truth be told. But something worth checking out.
Cool thing is it's crossplay. So
Right. So yeah, I have no idea. Like I only played a few games, but I won a couple. So I don't know if you get like bot games initially when you're playing solo, or if this game is so unpopular that I'm a better player. Because like the people I was fighting were moving like a character would, I would think, like using the flight to move around, trying to like run around stuff. But it could just be like AI, AI that's kind of smart. Because I know some of the games, like the first match, 100%, you're in an all bot game so that you do better.
sure.
So it could be that they do that a couple times, but I don't know. Like it felt pretty intuitive. The only thing I didn't like is I'm so used to using the E button, like the E key, to open or interact with things, that trying to use the F button is really hard. Like that was my biggest problem. But it was pretty fun. So again, it's free, so you're not.
I think I will
losing anything.
download it after this and on the Nintendo Switch and then
Give it a go.
try it out.
Yeah, it's being able to fly a little bit is kind of neat, and then it's mage stuff. So you're fairly into like, because we play Warcraft and things like that, like mages or spells and that kind of stuff. What if Fortnite gave you some kind of skin or something like that, where instead of being like just a person running around collecting weapons, you were like some kind of spellcaster. And instead of building like walls, they changed the graphics to look like you were summoning walls or stairs and things like that, where it was more magic based. And like instead of picking up like a machine gun, like you still had the machine gun, but the graphics were different.
Okay.
Would that make you any more interested in playing Fortnite? Or say it's a warrior, like some kind of warrior thing. When you summon a wall, you're summoning like bone and spikes. To where it feels
would
more
it make
like
you want to play Fortnite?
Would you be willing to play it, or would that increase your likelihood of playing it?
No, because I don't have the skill set of building.
Right, but
like
if all of a sudden instead of building, you were just gathering like mana and reagents to summon a wall,
sure.
Like if the mindset change, would that give you more willingness to try?
Because you still got to have the skill,
right,
to
do it,
build it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
well, I'm saying, would you have the motivation to
metal,
apply yourself more to it?
No, probably not. No.
Okay. I think for me that might actually work. Having played this, because just the idea of, oh, I'm summoning a wall or a energy wall or something like that, versus oh, I'm going to grab a bunch of bricks and metal and then build a wall. But it being magic might actually convince me to try.
Okay, all right.
That just shows how weird I am about video game stuff.
How weird your brain works.
Yes.
Now there is a game that looks pretty neat. I don't know the name of it, but it's a third person shooter where it's a team of people like trying to kill this dinosaur, and it looks really, really neat.
A dino sour. I'm looking. Science fiction. Is it Nanosaur?
It's not out yet, so is that what it's
I don't
called?
know. I put in exactly what you told me. Pangea Software. What is this? In the distant year of 4122, a dinosaur species rules the Earth. I'm trying to find out when this thing came from. There's an actual Nanosaurus. Composer, series, platform. No, this is old.
I will look it up because I saw somebody playing it on. It's like very early, like alpha or something like that.
Yeah.
And it looks neat because you get a team of friends and you're battling certain big dinosaurs on this island, and you have machine guns and everything.
Yeah.
It just looks neat. Third person, any third person shooter, I'm always for. So.
Yeah, you like the third person style.
Yep, I don't like looking at my hands. I like looking at my whole body.
Yes. There's a game, I wish I could remember what it was called. I look at it all the time. It's like Wild Hunt, perhaps, where it's part battle royal, part PvE, where you can be on like a team, but there's like a monster that you're actually trying to find and kill.
Okay.
Like that's the actual objective. But you can kill like the other players, but the big thing is trying to get to the actual PvE boss that's in the middle of it. And it's like smaller teams, but it sounds like there's parts of that. Now I know there's games like Monster Hunter where you can be on like a group and you're trying to kill a monster.
Yeah.
And then there's Dauntless, which I think is very similar, and that's on the Switch, which is free to play. But the one you're describing, I'm not familiar with at all.
Yeah, I'll have it for us next week.
Okay.
I can't find it right now, but I will try to find it, and we can talk about it.
Have you seen?
And next week, since it's October, we'll start doing some spookiness too.
Yes. Oh, we can bring back the Headless Horseman intro.
Yes.
Yeah. So next week, the intro is probably going to be long, and then we might switch to the shorter version. But we made something for last year.
I think we did a pretty good job last year with it.
I was pleased with it. I I listened to more gravel sound effects than I ever thought I would in my entire life to make that thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of all I have.
You know what? That's kind of all I have too. So I think it's a good time just to end it.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to outro us, and that'll be it. So yeah, you can search for us on the YouTube thing, Agony of Positivity, the AOP podcast, whatever. We usually have like a link that'll show up on our Twitter, which is at the AOP podcast. You can go to the website, agonyofpositivity.com. There's not a lot there. It's just a player, but it does have where you can send us like an email, and you can make like 123 fake email at gmail.com and send us a message if you want. If we put up the Tijuana Mama crushed up in the bag, I guess. I don't know. I assume you use like a meat tenderizer to make that happen. But
I assume, yes.
I'm sure that if he's listening, he's going to be like, oh, good Lord, that is not what I meant at all. What are they doing? Oh, no. It's going to be like Uncle Roger watching Jamie Oliver cook rice. Have you seen that?
I don't understand that reference. So.
Okay, I'll tell you about it later because it's hilarious. So, all right, everybody, have a good week.
Have a good week.
I can't find the button. Hold on.